Philippine News Patrol. Numerous scientists and scholars have revealed the ultimate hazard looming over the majority of Metro Manila. The National Capital Region, being on top of the active Marikina Valley Fault system, could potentially be prone to a massive disaster, affecting almost 20 million people living in the metropolis.
The predicted seismic event finally occurred as an earthquake, where the fault system has gradually shifted and caused an 8.0 magnitude earthquake in the areas along the fault line.
The force of the earthquake led to the collapse of skyways, overpasses, telecommunication and electric posts, along with the breaking of water pipes and cracking of buildings, leaving a large amount of debris along the road.
The aftermath of such occurrence prevented roads from being used, resulting to an exposed population more susceptible to further damage and danger due to possible collapse of nearby buildings and infrastructures.
Residents also lost the capacity to effectively communicate with possible contact persons due to the destruction of telephone lines.
It is crucial for these services to be immediately restored in order to address the needs of the victims, which was compromised with the loss of these facilities.
In time, aid has already been sent to the area to deal with this emergency and mitigate the associated consequences while simultaneously working to restore normal operations.
This immediate action by the Metro Manila authorities averted a disaster in which the absence of these utilities would be lengthened at the cost of the citizens.
Residents also lost the capacity to effectively communicate with possible contact persons due to the destruction of telephone lines.
The aftermath of such occurrence prevented roads from being used, resulting to an exposed population more susceptible to further damage and danger due to possible collapse of nearby buildings and infrastructures.
Oh my God! Nakita niyo sa news? Grabe effect ng earthquake.
Grabe, 20 million ang affected.
Talaga alam, ang gabi pa nangyari yan sa akin. Mangyari sa'yo? Wala kung ano. Pag nangyari siguro yan dito, oh my God. Bigla na naman galakay ko.
Hala, ako rin. Feeling ko talaga mawawala rin ako.
Hala, hindi ko rin talaga alam gagawin pag ito nangyari sa akin, promise. Pero just in case, mag-prepare na lang tayo. Para, ano pa pwede natin gawin? Pwedeng gawin? What do you mean?
May narinig ako nun eh. Ano kasi yun? PFA! Importante raw ito pag ikaw isang survivor eh.
Pero wait lang, may tanong pa tayong meeting. Pero tara na, dito tayo. Wait, si Pao. Uy, ito na, tumatawag si Pao. Hello?
Hello, Fernando. Pwede pa-stall muna si Ma'am? I'm almost there. Papasok na ako ng building. Ay, thank you po.
Uy, si Michael. Huwag na yun. Uy, nararamdaman mo ba yun?
Hi, I'm Jay. I need help. What's your name? Pao? Okay, Pao. If you need anything else, tell me. I need water. Oh, sure. I'll just get something out. Hi, Pao. This is your room. Do you know anybody here? my friends. They were inside when everything started to shake. Andun lang ako sa harap. I could have died. Oh, wait. Are they alive? Okay, now, please try to calm down. I will try to find out if you're I will do it. Okay? Thank you so much. Do you know how strong the earthquake was? It's a magnitude 8 earthquake, and we still don't know the extent of the damage. But I will try to find out. Do you know any family members that is nearby? My brother works nearby. Now I have a phone here. Can you enter your brother's phone? Oh.
After doing the first action principle, which is prepare, the next step is to look. In this case, we have seen a person with serious distress reactions. Then, we listen. Here, we make contact by providing her basic needs and making her calm down. After listening, we link her by contacting her brother. And after her brother has arrived, we make sure to tell her that we are leaving.
Pao?
PFA, or psychological first aid, is done to people that have experienced emotional distress in times of traumatic events, such as natural disasters and calamities. This aims to reduce stress and assist in the recovery from painful ranges of emotions. PFA is the assurance of safety, helping the victims to stay calm, comforting them until they reach the point of connectedness and self-empowerment, but most importantly, it is used to give hope and support. We should know that anyone can acquire PFA. It could also be done in any setting, as long as it is soothing and comforting to the victim. We should also know that in order to perform PFA, one doesn't have to be a mental health professional, but one should have good communication skills and enough knowledge in administering emotional and mental support.
We have already covered the application of the concepts of hazards. To be more technical and bring more light to the topic, hazards are a potential source of danger and damage.
In our video, the Marikina Valley fault line served as the hazard, while the movement or the gradual shift of the tectonic plates represented the manifestation or the event. This, in turn, has resulted to numerous structural and functional damages, wherein such destruction has resulted to a gradual shift in the normal function of the society. These result to different needs and responses that may come from local respondents.
However, when these local response can no longer subdue the damages in an attempt to restore what was lost, we now have what we call a disaster.
Despite the fact that the Philippines has a comprehensive regulative framework for disaster risk management on paper, in reality, the capacities at the local level are still weak and must be strengthened in order to avoid a high number of unnecessary casualties in future disaster events. Specifically, we see corruption of relief operation. Usually, when relief operations are initiated in a community, the local government unit is entrusted to distribute goods and allocate funds. Because of the corrupt nature of our government, hoarding of goods and corruption of funds by people in power are commonplace and usually results to deprivation and later on chaos. Unequal distribution of population. Congestion and poverty increases the vulnerability and decreases the efficiency of disaster response. Limited escape routes, dense infrastructure, and poor urban planning poses a problem especially for urban communities, while coastal communities are at a higher risk of coastal flooding and tsunamis. And finally, poor disaster preparedness. Though the country has experienced numerous disasters, reality still shows that we are still poorly prepared in terms of resources, manpower, and funds. Thus, it is important to equip ourselves with the knowledge of the disaster cycle and psychological first aid so that we could respond accordingly to events and hazards so as to prevent a disaster.